Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 10 of our Business Breakthroughs workshop. And today's topic is your business built on a wobbly stool? Is your business built on a wobbly stool? And this comes directly from both John and Mark, because the wobbly stool, the three legs on the stool, represent the three elements of every essential business: message, market, and media, right? And if you haven't got all three of those going, or they're not aligned with each other, then you're in a little bit of trouble. So that's an introduction to it. And with that in point, let me pass over to either you or John or Mark to continue, okay?
Take it away, John.
Now, it's like that three-legged stool, like Peter was talking about. You have to have the right message, going to the right market, using the right media. And we've all seen you could have what you think is the perfect message, but if you're not giving it to the right market, it's not going to do you any good. You can have the right media, but if it doesn't match, it's no good. And so many people, here's a challenge I had a person bring to me that I asked for some ideas for this call. And they said, well, my message isn't being received the best. She said, I got a great message. I said, great. Are you reaching your market? She said, yeah, I'm reaching I got it for my target market. And I said, great. I said, what media are you using? She said, well, I'm using Instagram and TikTok. I said, great. Is that where your ideal clients are? No. Well, there's your answer. I said, why are you using those two, Instagram and TikTok, if that's not where your clients are? She said, well, that's the media I like. That's nice. Just because you like that particular media, if your ideal market isn't using it, you're SOL. And it can be the same with any parts of those three deals. If you got a wishy-washy message and you can have the right market and you can have the right media, it's not going anywhere. And another one is, especially dealing with some of these people that say anybody and everybody's my client or my prospect. That's not true. Yes, everybody may be able to use your product or service, but who is your ideal market out of all those people? If you don't know who you're directing that message to, you're wasting your time, your money, and your effort. And especially if you're not used to how paid ads work or anything, and you're going to give Google or Facebook or Instagram your money, they'll go through it real fast, simply because they don't give a damn about your message or anything. They'll just say, put it on here. I had a guy tell me the other day, he was going to use the pay-per-clicks. And I said, okay, what's it going to cost you per click? Well, he said, I'm looking at putting up $5 a day. I said, well, you'll be on about 2:00 in the morning when nobody else is up there listening in North America. He said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, they want basically, almost $20 a click during prime time I'm not sure where the market was. And I said, that's a big difference. The other thing that you have to realize when you tell Google or Facebook or whatever what your daily rate is or what your rate is, that's per day, 7 days a week, 365. That's not Monday to Friday. They go that for your whole time. And all of a sudden now this guy's getting the bill and saying, that's not what I thought I was buying. Yeah, it is, because you didn't bother reading the fine print that says this runs 365. So
John,
that's things you...
sorry, I'll come back to you, but tell this guy, this is something I got taught a long time ago. If they're looking at the wrong time slot because they're trying to save money, okay? A guy told me this. He said, let me ask you, Peter, how many of your customers are going to be Thai rice farmers? Because they're the only ones who are going to see it.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you, John, but I just wanted to
No,
watch fresh
you
in
know,
my
but it is true. Like, it's the same with these the shopping channel ads. They used to run them after midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, the only people watching them were if you couldn't sleep or, you're on a night shift, you had a boring job. Yeah, they sold a lot of products, but the majority of the person's market isn't up there watching at that time. So you got to have something that really compels people that a your ad shows up when they're ready, because wonders will never cease. People don't buy on our schedules, they buy on theirs. And if everybody's sleeping when you're running your ad, good luck for trying to get anybody to come along. Mark is really good when you look at the posts he puts out. He puts a lot of good stuff out in his posts. When he puts them up on LinkedIn and I'm sure Facebook and a few other places. But Mark knows who his audience is, and he knows the message he's trying to deliver. He's not looking for franchise people. He talks about dealing with independent business people, and he puts that right in his ad. So his ad is both qualifying and disqualifying people. Mark, turn this over a bit to you for, when you're putting your ad and your marketing together, what's the method you use?
Boy, John, you just stole all of my thunder. So, I mean, this is fabulous. You could give a whole workshop on so many elements of what you're talking about because it's spot on. But let me just say one thing that I bet you 99% of people listening to this did not pick up on, pardon me, on what you're saying. When he mentioned pay-per-click, that is a pay for performance activity. And the more if your message is tight, you're going to get more people to click. Ladies and gentlemen, that pay for performance strategy is powerful. And I'm not talking about pay-per-click. I'm saying, like, let's say I'm targeting women with my jewelry. If I can seduce Tina to come and tell Tina, hey, you drag a friend, I'll do something extra for you. Do you not see that I don't have to pay unless she performs? That's powerful, man. You don't have to spend all of that upfront money that John is talking about that you're probably going to lose anyway because your message isn't correct or you're using the wrong medium. Let me just say this, and I'm not trying to avoid your thing, John, because you've just hit it out of the park. I mean, what you said right there is a whole masterclass. And Alan, I want to get your take on this, but think about this. Let's say I was a jeweler. I would take the 20-block radius of my store and send all of my female workers out wearing some really nice earrings and necklace and just go buy stuff where there's women working in the place or own the place. And guess what's going to happen probably within a month? A majority of those women are going to have some of my bling, and they're going to go back out into the community, and they're going to be my sales reps. I don't need pay-per-click. I don't need institutional ads unless you don't know what you're doing. And then I find out Tina's got a podcast. And I cozy up to Tina. I say, Tina, how often do you do Facebook Lives? And she said, about once a week. She's going to be wearing my bling when she goes live. You better believe it. And she's going to get some DMs, and Tina's going to say, hey, in full disclosure, I am an affiliate of Mark's Jeweler. You see that link down there? Every time you buy, I get a commission, but I put a special rate together with Mark, so you're going to get prices the public can't get. I'm going to do some business. So, but the point I wanted to say, John, you mentioned about the messaging. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, so much is riding on you getting, like Peter said something. He said, Mark, I'm surprised. Well, he said it to all of us. I'm surprised that we're not getting more audience. Here's what's important about that. It doesn't matter the size. It matters the quantity. That's why you see people with 42,000 followers not making any money. They got the wrong followers. We don't need a huge audience. I hope the audience gets huge. We need people who are saying, you know what they're talking about resonates with me. I need these people. That's what we want. And if that's you, you're in the right place. So listen to these people that are on this call, and you're going to learn some things. But let me just say this, and I'll get off my soapbox about what John was saying, because he's so spot on. when you're messaging now, all Peter, you know what I was calling this? You called it a three-legged stool. I call it the three-legged horseman because it's one doesn't outweigh the other, as John was trying to point out. They're all critical. But let me just say this on the messaging, because if you get your message right, I think you can ultimately find your right audience. But if your messaging is not right, if you're saying, excuse me, miss, excuse me, sir, instead of saying, excuse me, Tina, excuse me, John, excuse me, Peter, excuse me, Alan, excuse me, Mark, you're gonna have a hard time. It's too hard to try to buy your way through the noise. Cut to the chase and find out who are you talking to. And then call them by name. By name, I mean the benefits that you're offering. And they'll find you. They will. You know, Tina, have you heard this thing where I don't know what animal it is, so you got to forgive me here. But there's an animal that when they're out there in the vast desert, they make this sound. And their children find them because they know who that mother is making that sound. And it doesn't matter how many mothers are out there making that sound at the same time. That's what I mean by messaging. That's how dialed in you got to be. You get a higher return on your investment. You get higher customer engagement. All of these things make costs go down like a teeter-totter. And at the same time, those profits go up. That's what this whole group is about, ladies and gentlemen, whether you understand that, appreciate it or not. What Peter's put together, Peter's fabulous. All three are important, like John said. And that stuff that, you know what, John, what you were saying about the 2 o'clock in the morning versus, you could teach a webinar just telling business owners that. And you will have opened their eyes to something they didn't even know about. That is just, Peter, I'm going to make a suggestion. I don't know if this is in our questions or, excuse me, we need to do, I don't say a workshop, but one of these on pay-per-click and how it really works. Because most people, in my opinion, just don't really understand what they're getting into until they're into it. And it's a little late then. You know, this OJT stuff is ridiculous. It's
you
ridiculous.
just volunteered for next week. Thank you.
No, you know what I'm saying, John? Because what you're saying
I do.
So
I just volunteered you for
powerful.
next week.
It's so powerful that I think that it just kind of, you know,
Yeah.
so I just
Would
think
you
that we really
agree,
need to
Mark?
dial that in and make sure they understand how powerful a medium this is. And this whole, like I said, this performance-based marketing stuff, man, you are sitting on an unlocked gold mine. And Alan, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on, but I just think this is so critically important. You know what? Let me just say this last thing. Here's something I do not understand about these platforms that sell advertising. Why don't they have somebody who teaches a workshop on how you maximize profits using pay-per-click or using this? They just, like John said, they take your money, put a vacuum cleaner on your bank account, suck the money out, you don't get the results, and you leave. Why churn and burn? If you educated them and they knew what they were getting into, they're a lot more likely to stay there and invest longer. I think there's billions of dollars right there just being lost. I really do.
I can answer your question for you on advertising, because years ago I used to sell for, it was called the Henderson Directory here in Canada before the computer came out. It was a business to business directory, and they could buy an ad and, you know, do it. The whole deal was go in there and you sell them an ad. This way, everybody in the business world is going to get to see your ad, right? And it was sold city to city. So the whole concept was, you do this and you're going to get a gazillion people because all these businesses are going to see your ad, which was a crock. Our biggest competitor at that time was the Yellow Pages. And what they did, they would go in and they would sell somebody even like a full page ad. Now, the Yellow Pages had a better deal than we did. If they didn't pay for our ad, we had to send the bill collectors, whatever. But the Yellow Pages, if you didn't pay your ad, they cut your phone off. That's how they did it. Now, the other trick was when it came renewal time, they would just go in, and this happened all over Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Western Canada that I'm aware of. They would just go in and the receptionist, they'd look at her and say, just initial here. And So a lot of times, the boss says it's okay. A lot of times the receptionist was agreeing to this ad, a full page ad for the phone book. And in 1988 and 89, that was $3,000 a month, which was a lot of money back then. But a lot of these bosses were getting ticked. They say, I don't want that size ad, and they, you got to come and see me. It's not just walk in and see the receptionist, have her initial it because she's got no idea. But again, the other thing about advertising is one of the first things they come in and ask, what's your budget? Then they build the ad around your budget. They didn't give a rat's ass whether your ad ever sold or not. And the other deal was if you went back to renew it and they said, well, I never got any response. Well, that's because not enough people are seeing your ad. You need to keep advertising. You need to up the amount you're advertising. You need to do this, this, and this. So the unsuspecting business person, because they didn't know, oh, okay, and they put more money into it. And we used to call it the flavor of the week, whether it was a magazine, the newspaper, or whatever. One of the things about newspaper advertising, and this used to be the joke, I used to tell people advertising in a newspaper, your newspaper is good for two things, swatting flies and lining bird cages. Because once that day's gone by, nobody reads your ad. So,
John and Mark, let me just stop you there for a minute, because there's a lot of discussion here about paid advertising, right? But I want to ask both of you, because you're both extremely good marketers. And my question is this: conceptually, should you not even think about paid advertising until at least you've got a system that's working? Or are you going to take a punt and to go advertising without having a proven system before? What are your thoughts on that?
that's where the advertising companies make their money, because they count on a lot of people not understanding that, oh, our ad's going to get you X amount of dollars and there's going to be a gazillion businesses. I think I told you guys, a friend of mine, financial planner, he was advertising on the radio. He signed a year contract. So he told me about it, and I said, well, I can tell you how many clients you're going to get. This is when he first started. By the end of the year, I'll tell you how many clients you're going to get, and I'll tell you how much profit you made. He said, what's your prediction? 0. I said, you haven't made a dime, you haven't got a new client, and whatever that ad cost you, you're out that much money. He said, oh, no, they told me I'm going to make a gazillion dollars and all that. Well, he's advertised at 8 a.m. in the morning while people are driving to work in busy traffic. He gives out his phone number. I said, now out of curiosity, you're going down the highway at 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour. Are you going to write down that guy's number? No. You're stuck in traffic. You're PO'd because you're running late. Are you going to write down their number? No. The next time his ad shows up is on lunchtime. I said, I'm sitting in there, I'm having my lunch, or I'm trying to run around doing errands. How much am I going to write down your number? Same deal. Next time he runs his ad is at 5 o'clock when people are going home. But he said, I'm giving out lots of tax tips and everything. How many people pay attention to those? Besides nobody. They might say, yeah, that's a good idea, or yeah, I should write it down. And they get half a mile down the road, half a kilometer down the road, they totally forgot about you because a bunch of other ads have come on. So at the end of the year, called him up and I said, how close am I? Right on. I don't know what it cost him for that ad, but he said, I'm never going to advertise on there again. I said, it's not the radio that did it. It's the times you were doing it. It's they sold you prime time.
So are you?
Go ahead, Peter.
So are you saying that you should not? Are you saying you should not be involved in paid advertising unless you've got a system at least that is working manually?
Oh yeah, because if you just buy the advertising reps BS, and that's all it is, they're there to make money. They're there on commission. The advertisers are there to make money, and if you get results, that's a bonus. But they really don't give a damn one way or the other.
Okay.
Alan, you got your hand up.
And I want to give Alan a shout out too before he says anything, because next Monday we're doing a conversation session about the value and the importance of a community. That is a form of media that we need to take into consideration as well. So please, we'll tell you more later on when we get going. But Alan, over to you.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Peter. Well, I'm listening in all to you guys who know all about marketing, and I am fairly clear that my main audience exists on LinkedIn in the main. They're not all of the audience, but my particular audience that I'm trying to find out, which is just a small percentage of the overall marketplace of people who own property, is that I'm looking for motivated sellers. So what I'm looking for is people who have a problem, and the longer the problem goes on, the more pain they're in and the more cost they have. So I'm looking to try and identify that subsection of the market, and I'd like to just hear what the experts have to say about how to address that small subsection, the people who've got a problem with property, essentially, because I can solve property problems, but what I need to do is find where these people who've got a property problem are, the highly motivated sellers. So, for example, somebody might be in danger of repossession is one subsector. Another sector is people who've got closed down businesses, like some of the buildings I'm converting at the moment. A closed down care home is one, and another one is an office block that's empty because people don't want that building as an office anymore. So these are the sort of people that I'm looking for, and obviously what I want to do is target those people in the most efficient way. I use video and my YouTube channel to target people, but what I need to do is I need to get to them quickly, because I want them to see that I can help to solve their problem.
Alan, I've got a suggestion for you, and you know this anyway, because you can. Today is Tuesday, right? I spent 4 hours yesterday, 4 hours, going over and over and trying to perfect and getting the message right for one particular thing.
Yeah.
And that is, I wanted to start a newsletter on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Right? This is something I think you should really seriously consider, Alan. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
There's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of reasons. I've never done it before, but first of all, every single email that's sent in regards to the newsletter article goes straight into their inbox. Right? Go into their spam folder because it's used in the domain name of LinkedIn, and it gets straight into their inbox. So the open rate is in excess of 60%. Right? Secondly, do not expect all your first level connections on LinkedIn to join your newsletter. You don't want them anyway. You want people who are interested you may not have the chance to find. Most of them will be second and third level connections. What you need to do is get the messaging right.
Yeah.
Get the messaging right that actually that promotes the fact that you're doing a newsletter, and then let LinkedIn do all the work for you. Here, mine's only been going 24 hours, right? Here's some for you, right? In the first 4 hours, I got 165 new subscribers in 4 hours.
Wow.
I mean, that's not thousands, but heck, it's better than zero, right? Right now, just before this session started, I looked and I've got 218 subscribers. I've had 238 profile views just yesterday based on this, right? 39 new subs to my private email list, right? Because they didn't just join my newsletter. Within the newsletter, I gave them a bonus, and the bonus was, if you want this, I sent them to what they call a landing page, and they just opted in and they joined my email list. Why? Because we don't know how long we're going to be around with LinkedIn, right? But when they're on your email list, not on the LinkedIn newsletter, right? There's a much better chance of keeping them.
Yeah.
Thirdly, of the 39 new subs, 19 of those also became subscribers of my YouTube channel. And of those 19, 3 of them have booked one-on-one appointments with me for next week. That's all in 24 hours and didn't cost me a cent.
Amazing.
And that's what I spent time on, because this, and Mark and John, you gave me the clue: message, market, and media. Get them aligned together. And I had the vision of that tool, of the stool with the 3 legs. How do I get the message to get to the people? I don't know who they are, but I know what they are. I don't know who they are, but I know what they are, right? They are small business owners who are in business. They're not startups, because I use the word scale, not grow your business. I said scale. Scale means you are making money now, but you want to grow, right?
Yeah.
And I played with these words for 4 hours, and finally I got it to work. And all I'm saying, Alan, I think you should seriously consider starting a newsletter. It'll take you about 30 minutes to set up. And the other thing, I had to change it completely, right? Because I started off, and then just about 2 hours ago, I got a message from somebody, and his name is Ari Galper, and he just sent me. In fact, I'll write it to you. Ari Galper is one of my mentors, right? But he also said this to me. Ari Galper, bear with me. Yeah. Hello, Peter. I love you dearly, but why did you steal my newsletter heading? No, I didn't realize that. Would you mind changing it to something else? I really don't want to be a problem. Why don't you call it something like trust-based growth? Whatever it is, I'll support you, but can you just leave me mine?
Right.
That was that. Oh, it doesn't matter. And I just, oh my God, Ari, I should have known better. I'm really sorry. I've done it, it's all done. And I've called it, and I've changed it to trust-centered sales, right? That's what it is now, trust-centered sales. But it's the same thing, but different words. All I'm saying to you, Alan, is the use of a media like a newsletter may very well be the secret to your success.
Yes, I agree, Peter. Yeah, good suggestion. Thank you.
Do me a favor, and I'll do this for you if you like. Send me a copy of the media that you want to do to put a post on LinkedIn that's going to promote the fact you're doing a newsletter, and I'll give you feedback on it.
Yes, okay,
Second,
yeah.
if you've got that done, you can get the URL for the newsletter, go into your LinkedIn profile, and on your profile, you can have a link on right underneath your name that says join my newsletter, or join whatever you want to call it. Mine's whatever I call it, right? I can't remember. Join it. That's interesting, Peter, because at the moment I'm just wrestling with one particular question, which is why one of my videos got more than 200,000 views, and I'm trying to identify what the formula is, why that was the case, so that I can recreate it. So,
what was your title?
It was something like $3 billion property transformation.
So don't forget, your title grabs their attention.
Yes.
The next part, your subheadline, makes them want to keep reading.
Yes.
The rest of your article is just the body, and then your call to action. But your main thing that grabs their attention is that headline.
Yes.
If the headline doesn't grab their attention, none of the rest is going to matter.
No, you're right, John. Absolutely. And we were talking about this last week, weren't we? And Mark was, giving his opinion about this need to get the right message again to the right audience, but it's got to be attention grabbing.
Go ahead, Peter.
Be careful here, because I know the video you're talking about. I've seen it. Okay.
Right.
That wasn't your best video by a long shot.
No, it wasn't.
Near it. It was bloody compared to what you're doing now, right?
Yeah, well, it was done a long time ago.
Yes.
I
When
I
you
was just
first start,
wondering why.
there's nothing happening. It's just blank. You're just sitting there waiting. Okay, there's nothing, but it's still got 200,000 views. So it's
Yes,
not the
yes, yeah.
video. It's what John
No,
was
no,
talking.
that's right. That's right. Usually I get something, if I do a good one, it's around about 1,000, 1,200, something like that. But I'm trying to recreate what I did right in that first video so long ago.
May I offer a
What is-
suggestion?
Yes,
Sorry.
please.
A, you were being yourself in that video. You weren't
Yes.
trying to be fancy, all the rest of
Yeah.
that crap.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
being you. You gave an authentic message that resonates with people.
Yes.
And the better we get at doing it, we think we're getting better, more polished, and all the rest of the crap.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you stop and look at it, some of the marketing that grabs the best results is some of the crappiest looking stuff going.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
because it's authentic and people
Yes.
can relate to it. Like if
Yes.
I was you, I'd put an ad up there, you know, about your motivated buyers or
Yeah.
motivated sellers for unused care homes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, A, you're telling them you're looking for a motivated seller. B,
Yeah.
you're looking for unused care homes, right?
Yes. Yes.
You're targeting two very specific areas.
Yeah.
Alan, look at.
And if,
Oh, sorry, John. Sorry, John.
go ahead, Peter.
I'm just going to suggest. Have you checked vidIQ in terms of that video, and have you checked the insights of YouTube on that video? In other words,
Uh,
how long do people normally watch that video for?
Yeah, I've started looking at that. Not so much with vidIQ, but with YouTube. Yes, yes,
Okay, that'll give you the clue, because you
yes.
may have got 200,000 views, but if the majority of the money lasted 10 seconds, what's the point?
No, sure. The other thing that I've done is I have started to analyze it with vidIQ, and vidIQ suggested a lot of other headings that could be equally attention grabbing. So I've got one of those on my computer now. I'm just going to make a video about one of them a bit later today.
Do me a favor, before you send me that draft of the thing, which I'm delighted to do for you, right? I'm happy to do my copywriting bit for you. But before you do that, please go into YouTube, go into for that video and check what was the average span of viewing for that video.
Yeah.
They'll give all the details, right?
Yeah, with it, I've moved off it. I did have it up on my screen, but I moved away to another screen now. But yeah, I'll let you know about that.
I mean, the reason I'm saying is because the 200,000 might be a furphy. I mean, I don't know. It's more than likely if they don't last any, and then on YouTube, you know, it's like people with ADD, right? They're gone within 5 seconds, or sometimes less than that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So,
yeah. No, I agree. It's about viewing time as well. I agree, Peter.
Sorry, Tina.
Tina's got a unique niche as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in going through all of this, yes, definitely you have to, I agree 100%. You have to figure out your message, but before you figure out your message, you have to figure out who the market is. I think that needs to be number one. You have to figure out who the market is. And so when I created my avatar, my perfect client, everything I say is to that specific client. And my specific client was a man that is 55 years old, that owns more than one business, that has a large family, that makes a good living and works all the time and is being financially and abused in other areas. And all of my message goes to that specific avatar. What's interesting about it, and this is how I tell people, is if we're just throwing our advertisements or our words at the wall like darts, then we're just going to hit the wall. We're not going to hit anything important. It's just going to be a wall. But if we actually have a target on the wall that we can aim at, we may hit the wall, but we're going to come close to the people that are wanting that message. And so it's interesting to me how my message towards men bring out very strong females that either own businesses or high up in what they do. And so they make a really good living. And so it's targeted at that person, and I'm hitting that person. I'm making my message very specific to them. And now the other thing that I just recently learned, and I'm trying to figure out, is that now my message needs to be twofold. I need to make sure that I am getting my certified divorce financial analysts, because I work with them a lot, and I work with realtors. In every case, I work with a realtor, and I work with attorneys in 99.9% of my cases. Now I need my message to support one or all of their work when I'm putting them together, so that if an attorney looks at that, an attorney can say, oh, they support my work as well as my client. So now I've got my message not just to my client, I've got it to the support system that works with us. So I completely agree with that. And then the media, I've enjoyed using TikTok, and TikTok has helped me, although that's not necessarily where my clients are. My clients are on Facebook. And my clients, I've had one come from TikTok. I've had 2 or 3 come from Facebook. But what's happening is my referral partners and family members of those people are on LinkedIn. So I get LinkedIn. I have picked up the same type of referrals from Alignable, and Facebook is the family members that send them to me. So these people are seeing those ads, and I'm not necessarily hitting my specific target. I am hitting the family members and friends or support systems, which are lawyers and the CDFAs, that are now referring to me, because the majority of my clients come from referrals now. My clients don't necessarily come to me, maybe 1% of them directly.
Tina, if I was you, I would put together an ad for realtors. I would put together one for lawyers. I would put one together for like any of your specific groups, because when they think you're talking directly to them, rather than have your ad try to hit all of them, put a specific ad out, could say the same thing, but targeted to the lawyers, targeted to the realtors, targeted to wherever those people are. Now, all of a sudden, she's talking to me. Some of you have heard. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I've thought about how I could do that. So I'm on the same page with you and trying to put the wordings together so that my clients hear it, but the lawyers, CDFAs, the support systems also hear that, because I really do truly support them, even the lawyers, because my clients can't get divorced without an attorney. They need an attorney because they're being abused, and we need somebody who knows the legal gist of how to make the other side do what they're supposed to do.
Here's a suggestion that might help you. Many years ago, Dan Kennedy was doing a general weekend seminar, and it was going through all the stuff. And a chiropractor come up to him and said, "Can you do one for chiropractors?" He said, "Sure." No, and the chiropractor says, "But we're different." So Kennedy said, "No problem. I could put this seminar together." He was charging $497 for his weekend seminar. He put together a seminar for chiropractors, $997. The only word he changed in his seminar was he put in the word chiropractor instead of general. But chiropractors thought, wow, he's talking specifically to me. He upped the price $500 and changed one word. So when you put your words together for your ads, just put their name in. You can have everything else you're saying, just put in their name.
Can I give you a
And
clue?
they say, wow, she's talking to me. You know, that part, and I heard that on a Kennedy tape, and I'll bet I played that tape a gazillion times. I kept thinking, wow. And the funny part was, the chiropractor that asked Kennedy to put the seminar together went to this chiropractor seminar, paid $997 to go. He paid $497 to go to the cheap weekend, and paid twice the price to go to the one that was for chiropractors. Kennedy laughed about it. He come up and said, wow, that's the greatest seminar. He basically said after, if the guy would have paid attention and looked at the material, it's identical. But because we're chiropractors or we're lawyers or whatever they are, we're special, right? Alan, this comes back to you. They're a motivated buyer of office buildings. They're seller of office buildings. They got care homes. We're different. We got an office building. We're different than a care home. It's an empty friggin' building. You're losing money on. Nothing's changed. You're muted, Alan. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, you're getting the message right to the person. They think that you're talking to them. I get it. Yeah.
Yep.
In the chat, I put a transcription service. Alan and Tina, I mean, I've seen your videos, Tina. They are extremely emotional. They are extremely well done. I just sit there in awe of you. Incredible, right? But why don't you repurpose these videos? By all means, videos are a powerful medium. But if you use this transcription service, put your video in there and get them to, and you can get 3 a day for free. If you want to get more, you've got to pay for it. We can get 3 per day. And get them to do a transcription for you, you and Alan, both of you, right? Take that transcription, look at it, and then just fine tune it to put a little bit more of you in there. It was you anyway, right? And then use that as a post.
Yes, yeah. Great idea. Thank you, Peter.
Use that as a post.
Yeah, I was just looking for something like that because I have used a software called Descript before, which does text to video. But the fact that this one is free and you can get 3 items per day is brilliant.
Yeah. And its transcription is very, very good. Okay. And you can get it sent to you either as a Word document or whatever you want. You can pick whatever you want, or even as I would suggest you take it as a Word document because it's easier to edit it. Don't get it and send it to you as a PDF, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, it normally takes about 3 or 4 minutes. Depends on the length of your video. Okay. And I've had videos of up to 25 minutes in there and some down to 60 seconds. The 60 seconds videos you can get back in about, like a minute. So your videos, Tina, that your very special ones, you can get back really quickly. It's just another way of repurposing the brilliance that you've already got. That's all I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tina. Let me just jump in here and say something really, really quick that's powerful. Alan, when Peter was talking about looking at the length of your videos, make sure you put your main benefit somewhere in that space. Yeah. Because if they're going to be gone, they're going to be gone. They're not going to catch it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other thing John was talking about the advertising, the prime time. If I were a salesman and I was going in to sell Tina radio advertising, I would tell her, listen, for 15 minutes of your time, no matter whether we do business or not, I'm going to give you this free digital download. It's called The 7 Most Common Mistakes New Advertisers Make with Radio Advertisement and How to Avoid It. You think Tina might want that report? And I'll do just what John pointed out. If you're going to do prime time, this is what's going to probably happen. Now, let's say Tina doesn't make a decision. She says, well, thank you. I guarantee you when she reads that report, it's going to resonate with her and she'll say, none of the other sales reps bothered to mention this, but this guy did. She's 10 times more likely to go with my firm than these other firms. Boy, John, we could do a master class on this stuff and we'll blow these people's minds. This is, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're paying attention. There's been so many nuggets in this. And Alan, one other thing I'm going to say, when Tina was talking about the professionals that revolve around that thing, look for 5 or 6 areas of people that deal with exactly what you're dealing with. And if you can legally, because I don't know the industry now, offer them commissions to refer you business. Like a CPA might know who's got a building that's abandoned. A lawyer, you know what I mean? You should And don't just go in with the idea of, excuse me, I'm looking for this. Come up with a digital report or a video that says, hey, if you have clients that have this problem, this is how we help them. Oh, man, Seriously, I just had to throw that in, Tina. I'm
That's
sorry.
a really great suggestion, Mark. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's fantastic.
Here's another
I'll
suggestion.
The
send
other
you more
thing-
stuff via DM in LinkedIn, buddy.
The other thing, Alan,
do not leave a call to action to the end.
I'm listening. Yes, John.
Leave a call to action to the end of the post or the end of their video. By all means, that's where you should have it there, but introduce it before then. In other words, get them thinking. For example, if Tina's doing this video and she's talking about some stressful situations with people, you could simply say something like this. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you an opportunity that you might find extremely helpful. That's all you got to say. And they think, I wonder what that is. And they're thinking this while you're doing your bit, right? But you've already sowed the seed in there. Then at the end, you simply say to them, as I mentioned to you earlier, there could be something you could find very helpful. And then you give them your call to action. And they're waiting for it because you already sowed the seed. Food for thought.
Yeah.
another point, Alan, if you're going in to talk to CPAs,
Yes.
what's in it for them to refer that person to you?
Yeah.
Make
sure.
it about them, not you.
Yes.
They don't give a rat's ass about you or your business.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
want to know what WIIFM, what's in it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Dave D, he used to work for Dan Kennedy, was a magician, and he was getting 3 sales shows a month. After he took Kennedy's program, he went to almost 30 shows a month. But what he did was just like Mark said. He went through, and at the end, he guaranteed his service. He'd have 7 or 8 points. The first 6 were what any magician could do. The last one was, do they guarantee their service? So when the person's reading through on his flyer, they're looking whether they wanted to hire him as a magician or not. But when they came to the last point of, do they guarantee their service?
Yeah.
And Dave said, I do. Dave went from selling birthday parties to doing corporate magician stuff for 15 grand.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was all because he guaranteed they were going to like it.
Yeah. 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 No, that's very powerful. Thank you.
So you can guarantee these people, they're going to get a reasonable rate for their building.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to feel good about the community and all the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
This is what the person gets out of it. It's like that lady you were talking about. She wanted to keep her building as something for health and in the community, right?
That's right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And you said you weren't the highest bidder, but what you did was you hit her hotspot.
Yes.
So
yes.
if a lot of these people, depending on what their hotspot is, you might be talking to somebody that just wants to dump the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might be talking to somebody that wants to pass on their building because it's been in the family for a gazillion years and they want it to stay for something.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, we only do good things with these buildings. They go to create new homes for people. So it's in desperate shortage in the UK. So, we need more of these sort of buildings so we can actually do what we do best.
And again,
Alan, is there one other thing, real quick? I'm sorry, Alan. I'm just throwing this out now. I don't know. You know the industry. You're an expert. Are there any things that these people can do that could increase the value of the property before, even though it's distressed or whatever? You need to put that in a report and tell them, hey, before you even think about selling it, make sure this, and this, because it increases the value. Your competitors aren't doing that. They're sharp.
Yes.
They're going in trying to get the lowest price, and you be the opposite. And make it about, hey, even if I don't get the deal from you, I want you to get the best out of this thing.
I like that because we like to do win-win sort of deals. So that's
absolutely
very
absolutely.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Mark.
Thank
you, John.
As Tina said, and for those who are watching the recording, it is truly essential that you know who your market is. It really is important. Okay. And once you know your market, then spend the time getting your message absolutely lined up with that market. I mean, I don't want to emphasize it, but we're talking about a 3-legged stool, right? If your message doesn't line up with the market you're trying to attack, then you're wasting your time. And that's what I'm saying before. If that's not lined up, don't try and advertise either. You've got to have it lined up first. That's the point, right? And then finally, in terms of the media, I just gave an example today. One was, and I think you should think about it seriously, Alan, was the LinkedIn newsletter, because that could find you where you want. Okay. But in communication, you mentioned TikTok, but it's really on Facebook for her, which is fine. But the medium is the last bit you look at.
Yes.
It's the last. So for those who are watching this replay, please don't get them out of order. Many people spend all this time fiddling around with TikTok, right, without getting their message right and their money market right. And they wonder why they're not making any money. Okay. Market first, message second, media third. No substitute. That's the order it's got to be done.
Yeah.
One thing, Peter, you brought up before, when I first got on LinkedIn, I was taking anybody and everybody. This shows I got almost 14,000 people on LinkedIn. I'd be willing to bet 12,000 of them aren't my ideal clients, aren't even close, you know, but I'd send out a gazillion messages and people connected. So what? They're just names.